Another area within the user interface that's important is going to be our panel menus. Now, the reason why these are known as panel menus is because they exist in every panel that we can view within our viewer. So if I was to just hit spacebar just to go to a 4-view display, you'll notice that I have a panel menu for this panel, panel menu for this one, panel for this, and so on. So we can be very specific and actually set up options within these menus here for each individual view. If I just return to my perspective just for the moment, and what I immediately want to say first of all is that there's also an additional menu that you'll find beneath with a lot of icons and a number of shortcuts. I prefer not to actually have that icon menu showing, and what you can use is the Control, Shift and M button to toggle it on and off. However, sometimes within 2011 you'll find that those controls are a little bit buggy and don't often toggle on and off. You may need to give it a couple of goes just to get it to toggle off, but you'll find that a lot of the icons within that menu are held within these menus anyway, so there's very little point in jumping to those because, as you'll see in a moment, these menus aren't particularly big. Alright, so in fact let's start with the view menu that we have, and everything that we deal with within this menu is all to do with the view. So it's related to the camera, it's related to the camera position, camera settings, and also any image planes that might be attached to the camera. The shading menu determines how any object within inside our scene is going to be shaded, so whether it's going to be in wireframe, smooth shaded, whether it's going to be flat shaded, wireframe unshaded, X-ray. There's a number of different options, and all of these are covered within individual how-tos that discuss common shading modes with inside of the viewport. We have a lighting menu, so we can choose to visualize anything within our scene using the default lighting. If we have placed any lights in there ourselves, we can use all of those, or selected. We can use no lights. Again, there's a number of options so that we can get the exact look that we require. Our show menu is pretty self-explanatory. What we can do when we start getting very complicated scenes is to determine what we want to visualize within the scene and what we don't. So a lot of the time you'll find that you'll turn off perhaps unnecessary objects within here, or if you've got a large number of polygons but just want to work with NURB surfaces, you can turn that off, and then any polygonal shapes within your scene will now no longer be displayed. Our renderer menu, which is a little bit further on, okay, we have default quality rendering, and this is about what we see within the viewport. Okay, we have high quality and viewport 2. Again, the viewport 2 is a new introduction in 2011, but these are going to allow for a much better real-time rendering of our objects. So we're able to see transparency, we're able to see bump mapping, we're able to see shadows as well. So we can get a very good feedback straight away without actually having to render our shot. Finally, within the panels menu, we have the panels menu itself. And this just determines what this panel is being used for. So we can choose between cameras, whether we're looking in perspective, orthographic, okay, and we can also choose this panel to be something else. It doesn't just have to look at our 3D space. As you can see there, we're able to turn this into our outliner if we wished. Okay, we can go back and, in fact, let's just send it back to perspective. All right, but we've got a number of windows. All of these can be found under our window menu up in the main menu section. But we've got hypergraph panels, we've got layouts. Okay, so rather than using the 4-pane layout, we can now get something a little bit different. So we can do this, and then we can choose to turn this panel here into, let's say, our texture editor. We can end up really customizing this view here, so we can get all the windows that we're going to be using regularly into one space. Also, we've got save layouts, and we can tear off layouts, and we can edit the panels as well. So a lot to deal with there, and once again, personal preference, or it can be very much down to what scene you're working on at the time.